A single footlock in the air may look like a really simple skill, but it actually has a lot of nuance to it. And there are quite a few details that would be really easy to overlook, and you might not really know why stuff is going wrong. So we're going to take time today to break it down and look at it in that closer detail so that you can have a clean footlock and beautiful execution. So even if you already know how to put on a footlock, I have a feeling that this video will have some helpful tips for you. So stick around and we will take a look. A prerequisite for this skill is being comfortable climbing and descending with a basic climb, so make sure you've got that down first. And then the first thing you need to do is from your basic wrap, you need to lengthen your arms and pull your hips away from the fabric so that you come to an L shape with the hips about the same height as your feet. So once you've got yourself situated in your L, that's when you can take the foot off of your wrapped foot. Once you have your L shape situated, then you are going to remove the top foot from the wrap, and you are going to sink your wrapped foot down just about 6 inches or so. More if you want to go lower, less if you want to gain a little height. For this next part, take either edge of your foot and make sure you utilize the whole edge of your foot so the fabric isn't falling off one end or the other. And straighten that leg completely so that both legs are straight for this moment. What you're going to do is look at that wrapped foot down below and turn it toward your midline to pull it under the fabric and to step where your other foot is already placed. You're going to switch them out. Notice they're both straight again. And I only bend my top knee when it's time to remove it from the section of fabric. Then I press my hips toward the pole and draw my chest in next, planting my free foot firmly on the fabric beside my knee of the locked foot. We are going to look at this again, so don't worry if you still have questions about it. Just want to talk you through the exit. Don't pick up your foot and shake it to get the fabric off. Lengthen back to your L, long arms, hips to the height of your foot, and then you can just raise the toes of your locked foot and in dorsiflexion, drop the heel down and it will come off. You can also use your other foot to push the pole away, and that's just another option. There's a couple of other notes I have for you, so let's look at this again. So here we are in the L, and I'm about to drop my wrapped foot down. If your foot is turned in, if your hip is turned in, you're going to have a lot of trouble sinking, so try turning it out. I get a lot of questions, should my foot be pronated like it is here or everted with the toes pointing out away toward the back wall of my studio? And the answer is to choose the one that feels better for your hip anatomy, your knee anatomy, your ankle anatomy. You're probably going to notice that you have a preference for the leg kind of turning in versus turning out. So maybe try both and see which one works better for you. I also just want to bring more emphasis to the straight leg aspect. You always keep the legs straight whenever they can be, when they are not needing to complete an action with a bent knee. This will make your lines stand out. It'll create more lines in your placement of your footlock, and that will look really pretty. So it's a simple way to kind of clean things up and make things look really nice. So I know that it's really easy to also get mixed up about what types of exits for which footlock. So you want to remember that for this traditional footlock, you are sitting your hips back toward the floor and pointing the toes toward the sky. It is the opposite for egg beater footlocks. And if you do it the opposite way on either one, you will get totally tangled and it is such a mess. So take some time to practice the correct movements for each one. I want to give you a couple bonus tips about comfortable footlocks. So the key with comfortable footlocks is first to make sure your fabric isn't coiled or roped up. And the next thing is to make sure that this space between your feet is sufficiently large. If it's really tiny, you're going to end up with not enough space to step the foot in comfortably. So I make sure I have a lot of space so I'm not turning my foot toward the fabric to get in. And then last thing that's so important is weight your instep, tilting a little more on the inner edge of your foot rather than the outer edge. Tipping on the outer edge can lead to quite a lot of pain, so make sure that that's not something that you're accidentally doing. So I know that was a lot of tips. I have included them in the notes for this video, and I recommend just practicing 1 to 2 at a time when you're in the air so that you don't feel overwhelmed. And then when you get the hang of those, you can start to incorporate the next couple tips until you've got a really cohesive, beautiful, clean footlock. I hope that this is all very helpful for you, and if you have any questions at all, I would love to hear from you. And I hope that you have an enjoyable process as you learn this. Just remember to be patient with yourself and find the enjoyment in it all.